back here on Girl Talk. Our friend Tim Drake has joined us from the Greenery.
Yay!
And we have been talking about hair and makeup and clothing and beautiful things that we can do for ourselves on our bodies. We thought it only appropriate to come to you and talk about ways to create an oasis in our own home, especially outside.
Oh, you're the master.
No better person to do that than you.
Well, thanks.
I tell you what, you sent us some gorgeous pictures, but I think for you, I know you and I both, and I think you're getting married and you're going to be having a new home too. The out of doors and the outside is something that, when I drive into my home, can make you feel great or not so good.
Oh, I know.
Yeah.
So how do we begin to create an oasis in our own homes?
And the photos that we have are examples of your own home.
right.
That's
And
correct.
how
yeah.
you've
Tropical
transformed
paradise.
it.
Yeah.
It's evolved.
All you need is a tiki bar.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. I think he has that.
There is a picture. There is one.
there is
sort
one.
of, kind of.
What time?
Well, I mean, you know, in my case, I started with, you know, a pretty clean slate.
Okay.
And a lot of people here, you know, they have aging landscapes. You know that. It's usually
I like
about
that aging landscapes. Yes, I do.
But even landscape.
plants. Remember.
Plants, yes.
You know, we're talking about additions and subtractions, and a lot of times in the beginning, it's a lot of subtraction. And that's what I did with my own home. I took out what wasn't working, and I started to put in what was. You know,
You
having
have extreme yard makeover. When I look at
Yeah.
those pictures, you need a
Yeah.
show to take someone's yard and say, this is what it was before,
Exactly.
and look at it now. It was
Yeah.
amazing.
So if Kath would come to you and say, okay, I'm in a home that I've been in for quite a while. What can I do to kind of bring it up to speed?
Yeah.
How do you start?
Well, I think you start with, and I had this conversation last week. You start with the big stuff, the trees. You know, I mean, it's going to take longer for the trees to get where they need to be. So you start with trees. You go down to shrubs, and then you go down to later on you're going to be adding the little fluffy stuff. You know.
But do you do an assessment? Do you go out and you look at the lighting, you look at, and of course
absolutely.
budget, and you make recommendations of the kinds of plants that are going to do well here or there, and you can move
Of
things
course,
around
of
maybe that
course.
are existing.
Yep. And I mean, I'm a pretty frugal person.
Right.
So, if there's something there that's working, we leave it. If there's something there that's working but it's in the wrong place, we move it. A lot of plants, there are plants, camellias and things like that don't like to be moved. So, again, I have a conversation with the client. Do we take it out because it's in the wrong place, or do we, try to work around it?
Along the same lines that Kath was talking about, from a budget point of view or a lifestyle point of view, I mean, we wouldn't have a lot of time, any of us, to really do a lot of outdoor maintenance. Do you take
Yeah.
that into consideration?
Oh, of course. I mean, I've gotten myself into this, situation now where there's a ton of maintenance at my house. But, I'm in the business, so it doesn't, it doesn't really bother me. I think certainly those are considerations, as far as, does the client want to spend time out in the yard and mess around with
I
plants?
have to laugh because it reminds me, I tell everybody the description of my yard is like my child. It's time-consuming, temperamental, and expensive.
Yeah.
But it's true. It's very cathartic for me to spend time out
yeah.
in my yard. And like she said, I want to drive up and I want to see your yard in my yard.
I
want
like
to
doing
see
the
that.
fluffy stuff. But the big stuff I would leave to the professionals.
Right.
Because, I mean,
Yeah.
the Greenery offers that kind of service where they can come and maintain what
Oh, of
you've
course.
got and get it
Of
and
course.
keep things fertilized and kind of
And
all
prune
that
the
stuff
shrubs and that kind of
the
stuff, yeah.
irrigation and things like that I just don't want to be bothered with. I just
No,
don't.
we're not
But I
pros.
like to
Yeah,
have it
me
and have it
too.
look beautiful.
Do you do
but-
hardscape too?
Of course.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's good.
And for hands-on people, I always try to talk them into allowing me to do the bones. Let me get the bones in. Maybe it's a little boring, with some shrubs around the foundation of the house. And as we build the layers, they can be responsible for adding the flowers or the perennials or the things that they want, as their personal touch.
As from a patient's point of view, do you advocate for, I'm ready for it to be big and beautiful
We
today.
want it yesterday.
Sometimes
Yeah.
when I look at landscapes, I can tell if they're mature or if they're brand new. And is there a way to sort of,
Oh, sure. Mix it up.
Integrate that? Yeah.
You mean, so it doesn't look like it's all brand new. Oh, of course. You know, in Hilton Head, you know, the median age on Hilton Head is a little higher than a lot of communities,
Right.
and people don't want to wait for that tree to, you know, they want.
I'll be dead if it takes 30 years.
They want
aging
to, you know,
landscape.
they want to put in, you know, mature plant materials and make it work.
And you find deer prohibitive, like, because deer I love, except when they eat my bushes, then I don't love them so much.
Yeah.
You find plants that,
Of course, and we had this
Yeah,
discussion
we're
last
deer-friendly.
time that we have so many more plant materials now than we did 20 years ago that, you know, the deer tend to stay away from. So, you know,
Last year at the Greenery, you guys created for me, you did a big pot, it was a butterfly pot, and it all, hummingbirds and butterflies, it was amazing. And that's the stuff that you're talking about that's kind of fun, that your crew is great at recommending. 'Cause
I love container gardening, and you know where we are. That's kind of what I can do. But and you all have you can
containers
make
are great.
recommendations
Yeah.
and
you know that we've talked about adding color.
Yes.
I try to steer clients also into not expecting every bush to bloom and all this sort of stuff. Can we get good, you know, bones in there with the different colored greens and some variegated plant materials, but maybe introduce, you know, containers that they can switch
that's-
out
yeah,
and,
that's a good idea.
you know, they can switch out
Seasonally,
and
right.
add and subtract themselves, and that, you know, that's certainly easier to get color.
What he's really saying is that poinsettia you and I both have in our container is probably time
It's time.
to yeah, it's
It's
time
time.
to change.
It's almost Valentine's Day, right? You know.
Hey, red is red, you know.
Yeah.
Change it up. Change
he's so
it up.
talented. And then the team, anyone out there can get in touch with the team at the
Yeah.
Greenery. But
Of
you're
course.
really one of the main
Well,
kind
I-
of magic makers there that can really help transform.
And that's what I
your
love to
space.
do. I love residential design and install, and you know, I've been doing it for, you know, over 20 years.
And you have a terrific
and it
eye.
shows.
Yeah.
Exactly. Thank you all
awesome.
for joining us here on Girl Talk. It's been a great week. Enjoy.